So, hi everyone, and welcome to another podcast. And with me today is Ritika, and Ritika has done some wonders in her life. And she started with practicing medical in her undergraduate, and then going from medical to she became an analyst over in Canada. So, hi Ritika, how's it all going?
Good. How's it going for you? I'm excited
I'm
today
good.
to kind of like get into this podcast. I know it's something like, this is
Yeah,
the third
Yeah,
episode and I hope it's a good one. So,
yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
excited about
Let's
So,
questions.
let's
start.
start. Can you give a little bit brief about what your life has been throughout? Like, what has been your education background before the undergraduate?
Yeah, sure thing. Yeah. So I think my educational background before my undergrad. So I came to Canada about 5 to 6 years ago.
Okay,
I went to
Okay,
Vancouver first to study kinesiology. Before that, I was in India. I did my 11th and 12th from there as well. I went to an IB school, the Indus International School. I'm not
okay,
sure how many
okay,
people know that, but a great college. Definitely recommend. And there, I was kind of like IB kind of works different compared to ICSE and CBSE. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
know when I was in 10th in ICSE, I was doing more kind of like science. But
okay,
then
Ah,
when I moved on to IB school, I had a good combination. So you have HL and SL subjects. So I was taking a good combination of, I think, psychology, math, and English at the HL level. And it was more of like biology, chemistry, and sociology at the SL
yeah,
level.
yeah.
got it.
Got it.
So that is something I did there, and then using that education, I was then able to. I applied to a few universities, University of Toronto, UBC, and York University. I got into all
Okay,
three of
Okay.
those, but I've always wanted to come to Vancouver. I don't like Toronto. I've been there, not my
yeah,
wife.
Yeah.
So I then decided to come to UBC. Yeah.
Okay. So after this, like you decided to kinesiology, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you explain the viewers what exactly is kinesiology in 30 seconds, and after that, can you explain what has been your experience studying in UBC?
Yeah, for sure. So kinesiology is basically like sports science, and it's like a lot of people who want to get become physiotherapists, or it's also considered like a pre med at times. So that is what I wanted to do initially because I'm a classic South Asian person, and my parents always told me, becoming a doctor is one of the ways to create an impact, and I also believed in that. So I went with it. But coming to UBC kind of opened up a lot of opportunities for me, and in fact, UBC was one of the reasons why I ended up into consulting because there were just so many opportunities, clubs, and events that were available on campus that I was able to be a part of. I was able to get out of my comfort zone, meet people who are outside of just that pre-med field.
yeah,
The
Yeah.
fact that every class that you take, like UBC has this compulsion that you have to take courses outside of biology. You have to
okay,
take
Okay.
courses outside of your specific degree, and it's purely for the purpose to keep you open and try different things. And I think that is what helped me because I remember I tried like case competitions and I took business courses as well in
okay.
addition to
Okay.
pursuing technology, which actually helped me realize my
So
interest
So
on
they
the
were
they were your minors, right?
not necessarily minors. So I feel like I think the good thing, I don't know about universities back in India, but I think the good thing about universities abroad is in any degree you take, you have to take a combination of subjects. They're called electives, and there
okay,
are the
Okay.
formal. You also have majors and minors, but I didn't
okay,
do any
Okay.
minor. My minor was in psychology and my major was in kinesiology. But in addition to that, we also have to take a certain number of electives every year,
got
and
it.
those
Got it.
electives will always be courses outside of your degree. So I took a lot of business courses, I took a lot of like finance courses as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, and what was your experience studying at UBC? Was it like different? Like you might have talked to your friends as well. Like was your experience different than them, or how was it better or less better?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I said. I think it was a great experience for me because there are so many opportunities available abroad. There are no restrictions placed on you because of certain things. Obviously, it is expensive. That is the thing. Like if I spoke to any person who is going to other colleges abroad, like Langara College or anything compared to UBC,
Yeah,
obviously they're
Yeah.
paying less money. But I think the opportunity and the credibility you get on like studying at UBC also is a lot higher. Whereby people even go to say that if you are someone who has graduated from UBC, even if you have just graduated, not specifically any percentage or anything, you are much more likely to land a job than someone else who may have graduated from another university
okay,
without even
Okay.
any experience. Yeah, that's the
Okay.
Okay.
impact.
Okay. Got
Okay,
it.
got it. So like, why did you shift it from being an analyst to like getting a great field in a like, getting the great field of medicine? What were the major reasons to shift an analyst role?
Yeah, I think for me, it's like I'm someone who's very impact driven. My purpose of coming to Canada studying kinesiology was also driven by the hope of being able to create an impact by becoming a doctor. But along the way, as I said, I kept myself open to opportunities. I tried a case competition once, and that one case competition changed my entire career trajectory because it made me realize that okay, impact, it doesn't have to be related to a specific profession. It can go beyond. And that's
Yeah.
when I
Yeah,
realized, even if I become a businesswoman, or even if I become a consultant, or even a marketing person, I can still create impact. It just comes down to how I use those skills that I have developed. So that's when I realized that, this is something I really enjoy. And then I started looking for internships more on the
Yeah.
yeah,
strategy and the problem solving side of things. Initially, I did it in the healthcare space because my degree was in that. Then I
Yeah.
slowly
yeah.
transitioned to more of the higher education space because I was a part of a university, so it was easier to do that. And then finally, I became a freelance consultant, worked there for two
Okay.
years.
Okay,
Um, Once I worked for 2 years as a freelance consultant, got an idea working in startups and nonprofits in Canada and in the US. Then I was like, you know what? Let's start something of my own. So then I
Yeah.
yeah.
started my own nonprofit, now a social enterprise. And coincidentally, funny story, when I was looking for pro bono help, which a lot of consulting companies offer abroad, that's when I came into contact with people from Deloitte.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
fell in love with that impact obsession and then ended up applying here, and here I am.
yeah. It's great. It's a great journey throughout. Like you also talk about the how you actually became the analyst. That was going to be my next question, but you also answered that as well. Like the proper roadmap of how to be an analyst. So yeah, okay. So like, is it easy to get into consulting from any course, or is it like something difficult, or you should be from a business background only? Because people think that if you are from a business background, it's somewhat easier to get into consulting as compared to a course from like kinesiology or from a specific other course. Like, is it difficult, or is the same level, or is it like easy? How's it been?
I think there's nothing that's easy or difficult.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all subjective. It all comes down to you, and it's all about how you showcase your value proposition. Like everything's going to be difficult to everyone at a certain point.
Okay.
Okay.
Even if you come in a business degree and you have no experience, you will not be the best candidate for the job. But if you
Okay.
come in
Okay.
with a business degree but with experience, then you'll be a better candidate than even the person with a business degree. So I
Got
think
it.
Got
it's
it.
just about knowing where do I currently stand, being aware of what is something they are looking for, like getting to the nitty gritties of it, not looking it at the surface level that, oh, consulting, that means I need business experience. No,
Yeah.
look
Yeah.
into what type of responsibilities would you occupy as a consultant. Oh, you would need to communicate with a lot of clients. Well, I have
Absolutely.
done
Absolutely.
you know then looking into, you have to do a lot of problem solving or like risk analysis. Well, I have done that as a kinesiologist when I have worked with clients in the
Yeah.
healthcare
Yeah.
setting, for example, because even I check their reports, I decide, okay, what type of exercises are fit for them or not, and do
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of roadmap or outlining, which is very typical to what is done in consulting in a client classic.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
feel like realizing where your strengths lie, where your value proposition is, and then conveying it to the other person, to that employer, becomes incredibly important. So, like when I was doing this transition, I knew that okay, what I don't have is that business knowledge. But and see, business knowledge is something you can gain. That is not that is a skill that you can learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But
over
It's
time.
over
personal
time.
skills, like soft skills, are something you cannot learn. These are hard skills. You can definitely learn this. You take a crash course of like a month or something, you will know all the business knowledge you need for consulting. So that is not a worry at all. And even now, I've been at the firm a month, and trust me, I know all the business terminologies that they use, even without studying a business, crash course or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like people shouldn't worry about that. I think the most thing is like, just realizing that you have the soft skills, being able to convey them in the right aspect to that employer, I think becomes incredibly, incredibly important. And the fact that you need a business degree to get into consulting is just a conception.
Okay.
Misconception,
Okay.
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's more about how you present your resume to the employer. Like how is your communication doing? Like how's it better than others? It is more about that as compared to anything else, right?
Exactly. Yes, you pointed out the right way, and it's about experience. Like realizing what can be gained and what can be not. Like, let's
Yeah.
say if
Yeah,
you have an employer tells you, yes, I hire you, but I want you to have this and this before next month. What you can gain in that 1 month could be maybe knowledge about business by going through articles or like studying textbooks. But what you cannot gain is a lot of experience within that month. So knowing that, okay, even if I come from a non-business degree, what I can do to kind of make myself up to anyone else who's applying from a business background is get that experience.
Yeah.
I made
yeah,
sure I had twice the experience anyone coming in with a business degree had, so that no one can even say no to you, because
Yeah.
even though
yeah,
they have studied more about it, I have done more of that than them.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know?
So it's
Yeah.
more
So it's
about
more
getting
about getting
practical than
practical than
theoretical.
theoretical.
Exactly. Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Great.
great. Uh, so like I have seen you posting every day on LinkedIn. Like I have been following you from a very long time. So you have more than 10,000 followers and stuff. So how has that helped you in getting a job or like preparing a resume in general?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I feel like LinkedIn is such an important tool, and I think everyone mentions this, so it is important. And I think
Yeah.
the reason
Yeah,
it is important is not just before the job process, even during the process you're applying for a job. Like, I host several sessions, and I even run a lot of, like, I also provide students with a lot of these consulting services, career consulting services, where I
Yeah.
say,
yeah,
how can you optimize your resume to get to, like, even how can you optimize your LinkedIn, sorry, to be get traction on your resume as well. Like,
Yeah.
in your
yeah,
resume, having a hyperlink to your LinkedIn account is very, very important. And even on your LinkedIn, if you're someone who's applying to jobs right now, in your bio itself, for example, having a link to your resume on a Google Drive becomes so important, or having an application package in that particular link ready, so that any employer who comes to that, and you put up that sign open to work,
Yeah.
if they're
yeah.
able
Absolutely.
to see your
Absolutely.
profile, they just click on that link and are able to view the package, the application package that you have to offer, and they're more likely to hire you, because now they don't need to message you and then wait for you to send your resume. They can just click there and view it whenever they want. So I feel like a few things like that become very important, and even after you get a job, LinkedIn becomes important. I have had so many of my employers, like people within the firm, senior people, reach out to me because of my LinkedIn. They
Yeah.
said, "Hey,
Yeah,
Ritika, we saw your LinkedIn post and we really resonated with it. We would love to have a chat with you," which doesn't happen as often, within the firm,
Yeah.
especially when
yeah.
you and when no one knows you,
Absolutely. I
no
agree.
Absolutely.
one is reaching out to you unless they've read something you've done before. And plus, I think posts become important is because it's like, at least for me, it's a medium of self-expression. The way I feel that particular day, I just put it out there, without
Yeah.
Yeah,
any fear of judgment or anything at all, because it's how I feel, and sometimes people get to see that personal side of you, which you cannot show to your employers when you're at the job.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that way also it really kind of works out.
Okay, so it's more about like LinkedIn has helped you gain more connections and like giving your resume out to a lot of people. So that is what LinkedIn done for you. So like, would you prefer creating content every day on LinkedIn, or is it more of like creating content weekly? It's also fine. Like, what would be your suggestion to them?
To grow on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
Yeah,
post every day. It's like, how do I say, there are two approaches to it. I recently had someone reach out to me and be like, very indirectly, that, Ritika, I think quality is more important than quantity,
Yeah.
100%.
yeah,
But one more thing important to keep in mind is, sometimes the more you do something, the better you get at it. And secondly, it depends what's your main vision behind this LinkedIn account. Like, for me, sometimes whenever I'm anxious, sometimes whenever I'm feeling stressed, LinkedIn for me helps me vent that out. You
Okay.
know,
okay,
so for me, even though, let's say, the quality of my post, obviously I'm a human. Every single day, my post won't be the utmost quality content, or every post I put out won't be viral, because guess what? I write my post 5 minutes before I post.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's how I do it, and it's like, it's completely okay if people don't engage with it. It's fine. It's like, part of life. What's important to me is, I put out what I was feeling, and it helps me mentally also. Obviously, sometimes when you don't get as many likes, it can feel bad and this and that.
Yeah.
But I
yeah.
think you learn to get out of it, because that's the part of life. No one's going to like you. Not everyone's going to like you. Not
It's
Yeah,
more
everyone's
it's
going
like
more
to
that.
like that.
time or for every single post. And yeah, I think just coming to acceptance with that and knowing what is your reason behind posting. If you're not as driven to post every single day, or you don't feel that starting out, take your time in posting it. Like maybe at least post the more consistency, I would say, you can maintain with high
Yeah.
quality.
Yeah.
Do that, and figure out what works for you. I know some people who post every single day and they have 25,000 followers. I know some people who post once in some days, they have viral posts, but then see, followers is one thing. Even within those followers, there's something called active and inactive followers.
Got it.
Got it.
I have so many people who will have 125,000 followers, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so amazing. But when I see their post, the post will have 25 likes each on every single post. How is that possible? Tell me.
It's like 0.01%.
This happens when you go inactive for some time. So your followers will still stay there because they have clicked the follow button. But they stop engaging with your post because you're not connected with them every single day. It's still an effort to keep posting every single day. There's a
Yeah.
difference
Yeah.
between who's posting every single day versus I know someone who posts twice every single day, which is
Wow.
Wow.
enormous. I tried it for a week. It requires so much mental capacity because you need to think well. But yeah, so I think there are just different ways. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Great. Uh, so like, it is the $1 million question for a lot of people. Like, what are the salaries to be expecting in as an analyst in Canada, specifically for Canada? Not you can like, you can hide your own salary, but you can tell a ballpark figure for the analyst in general in Canada.
Yeah, I can give you a range, which is
Yeah.
usually
Yeah.
given to people. I think it depends from company to company, right? And it depends on person to person. I know when I came into the firm, or even before I came into the firm, I knew one thing: for every position you apply into, or you apply for at the BA level, let's say, which is the most entry level job, you will have a range of salaries that are offered, and that
Yeah.
range of
Yeah.
salary where you fall will totally depend on the type of experience you come in with, how much the employer likes you as like an
Yeah.
Yeah.
employee coming to them, or how much of a need do they have, and even which area they're hiring you from. Like
Okay.
Okay.
analyst salary per year can range anywhere from $50,000 to even $85,000.
Okay.
Okay.
It is a huge range. It totally depends on where your experiences fall. So like
Okay.
Okay.
you can still get a job at Deloitte, but then maybe you can maybe earn more than the average amount, which would be
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
55, or you could earn that much. So that's why I feel like putting in that extra effort to get good experiences, putting that good value proposition out there becomes important, because it's not just about getting the job. It's about getting the best pay packet within that position as well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because you want that, when you're coming abroad as an international student, you want to be earning a good amount of money, to pay off your student loans, everything, whatever you're doing, you need to be able to do that. So I feel like that's why putting in effort to kind of get those really valid experiences and negotiating for yourself is incredibly important.
Okay.
Don't
Okay.
get whatever someone gives you. But again, you have to be mindful of it. If you know this is your completely first job and you have no experience before this, and you are lucky to have them, then don't negotiate. But if you think they are lucky to have you, definitely negotiate and don't settle.
So like, what are the levels going up? Like, so what are the salaries for like for a senior consultant or for a partner? Like, what could those range by? If you have any idea for them.
I don't know much of an idea about those specifics. So because it ranges, right? Like imagine if a BA can go up to $85,000, then a consultant, which is one level up, can go to $150,000 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, got it. Uh, so like, you told about like, it requires an experience to get into in like business analytics and stuff. So like, how is it easy? Is it easy for the freshers to get into it? Or like, is it easy for the freshers because you had some kind of experience in the past which helped you get into it? But is it easy for the freshers like straight out of college? Can they get into all of this? Like, can they get into consulting? Like, you did 2 years of like work experience. You had 2 years of work experience, right?
So that's what I'm saying. You can still be a fresher and still have experience. That's what I mean to say.
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
doing a 4 year degree, 2 to 4 year degree. You just don't want to be studying, right? like, studies, what's distinguishing you from anyone else? Unless you've done like a PhD, which is like you did like intense research, that makes sense because that's putting you beyond everyone else. Because not everyone does a PhD,
Yeah.
but most,
Yeah.
at least these days, everyone's doing a bachelor's. So if you want to distinguish yourself, you know that instead of just studying, you definitely need to do other things.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
Yeah.
You don't need to get experience working at the best of the companies, or you don't need to get completely paid or professional experiences. As long as you have some experience, at least, whether it be in clubs, on campus, leadership activities, extracurriculars, sports teams, or whatever kind of experience it is, you need something to go with it. I never say you definitely need experience, but like, because I think when you say experience, people think they need job specific experience. But when I say experience, I mean like extracurriculars or anything. Like, you need some experience, because think of it logically. If you're an employer and some person says, yes, what did you do in college? I just studied. That's what everyone's doing. What
Yeah.
makes you different
Yeah.
compared to anyone else? Well, you could have the highest grades, like a 99%. But again, that again varies, on which field you're getting into. If someone's getting into a really technical field like engineering, well, yes, if you get a 99%, that could set you apart from the other people who are applying. But if you're a person who has a 99% and no experience, versus if you have someone who has a 80% and multiple experiences, you're most likely to maybe hire the other person, you know? So I feel
Yeah.
like just
Yeah.
those things in mind, and obviously it's very industry specific. Like in medicine, grades are incredibly important because it may show how much knowledge you have
You
about that
have.
areas.
You have.
But in
Absolutely.
other,
Absolutely.
like business marketing, which are more like, I wouldn't say common knowledge. You obviously need to study. There's a lot of studying that goes on, but spaces like that, it's lesser important. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And this is the last question for this podcast, and it's a lot of it's a concern for a lot of people for through by which they shift from India to Canada or some other country. What has been the work life balance for you in consulting and as an analyst particular?
I think it's honestly really nice. I think people are very respectful of your work life balance. Like, I don't know, I don't think it's just consulting. I think it's specifically working at Deloitte. Like, I think they're very, very mindful of every single person's work life balance. Like, sometimes because the people here are so nice, I
Yeah.
want to work
Yeah.
2 3 hours overtime. I don't mind even without getting paid overtime, because
Yeah.
I think the leaders,
Yeah.
they're just so concerned about your mental health, family health, and everything. Like, I have so many of my employees and workers who, like, will go on vacations also, like in the middle of the year, and
Yeah.
Deloitte is completely
Yeah.
okay with it, because they're like, what, your family is important to you. They have so many committees on board. Like, I'm a part of one of the committees. It's called the Engagement Core Committee, and we are
Okay.
purely responsible
Okay.
for supporting employees with any issue that they have, any financial, mental health issue, or anything. We will put them in touch with support group sessions. So we'll put them in touch, or be able to fundraise money for them, or whatever it is. Like, if they've gone through the pandemic, when I know there was a lot of financial ups and downs. Even in Nova Scotia here, where I'm situated right now in
Yeah.
Halifax,
Yeah.
there was a hurricane that came in. And I know when that came in, a lot of people lost electricity. So Deloitte even compensated them in a certain way. Or
Okay.
even,
Okay.
hey, if you don't have electricity, light, or anything, we can book a hotel room for you, because hotel rooms had electricity. So,
Okay.
like, there's a lot of
Okay.
accommodation for employees. And plus, it's a huge firm. Like, there is so much there. You will just need to find where it is.
Okay.
Like, it just
Okay.
efforts to research about it and find it out. But everything exists here. So I think the work-life balance is great. There could be some days where you'll end up working 9 10 hours. When you're actually staffed on, let's say, two projects, and the company will compensate you.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
compensation comes down to the client you're working with. It doesn't come down
Okay.
to the company.
Okay.
If the client you're on a project with has the money to pay for you working overtime, then you will get paid for working overtime. But if
Okay.
the client doesn't have the
Okay.
money to pay you overtime, the client might just say, what, extend the project and make sure you're just working 8 hours every day, because I cannot pay overtime. So that is
Okay.
how it works.
Okay. Okay, got it. So thank you very much, Ritika, for coming on and giving your time from your tedious work. So it's been an amazing, like 35 minutes of recording, and you have shared like everything you could share to help everybody out. And thank you very much for coming. And you guys can definitely follow her on LinkedIn. Like she posts every single day. Like I like your post every single day, and you can call book, yeah, like you can book a consulting call with her as well on her LinkedIn profile. So where she can consult you one on one for personal meetings and for resume buildings, right? Is there anything else you want to add?
These meetings, or like the one-on-one coaching and group coaching sessions that I run, they tend to be paid, but the reason I put them paid is because I want to give you my quality time. Like,
Yeah.
if I promise that,
Yeah,
hey, by doing this I'll help you get a job, I want to actually help you get a job. And it's like on LinkedIn I get so many messages every single day, I need help in this and this, but I cannot get to every single person. So which
Absolutely.
is why I started
absolutely.
with this top made online service to be able to
Yeah.
cater to everyone.
Yeah,
So if
yeah.
anyone's looking for help, reach out.
Sure. You can reach out
Sure.
to Ritika.
You can reach out
Yeah.
to Ritika.
So